her father-in-law, I guess, okay, Ben Gladys, was the one who took care of my dad, a rabbi in San Francisco. In the 1960s, when they remodeled, he presented him with a whole office setting from the furniture that they were providing for clients. And I still have that desk in my home, the desk that Ben Gladys gave to my dad, whom we lost in 1983, back in the day. So, in all these different intangibles and tangibles, there's the connectivity of caring, a vibrancy, a strength of character, and she had it in every which way. She didn't want anything back. She saw the beauty in life. She loved beautiful moments in life. She accepted her illness and her varieties of cancers with equanimity. And the other thing that she taught, and I know Steve and I experienced it when I had the privilege of visiting with her last month, and she taught that it's okay to face mortality, which I heard a couple of you others reflecting as well. It is such a terrifying thing. That's one of the reasons I'm mad at Adam and Eve. Now, it's a playful mad, okay, and it's not a literal, it's metaphorical mad. But you know the story of the serpent tempting Eve, tempting Adam, eat the tree of knowledge and good and evil, don't worry about the consequences. And you know what? It would have been just so wonderful if in that story they turned to each other and said, you know what? There are two big trees here in the garden. The one that's forbidden, which we're about to forget about because we'll create a cool story out of what happens out of the consequences. Might even develop a religion out of it in terms of sin. That didn't go the direction in Judaism because we don't see it as a sin. We see it as a recognition that we have energies within us, good and bad. And the bad energy is only bad when it's not related to the good. The good associates with our life wisdom, Torah, learning from our varying traditions of what's the right thing to do. Then we use that energy of negativity in a positive way to get things done, to do powerful things, to be passionate about life. That is what we have in the story, but it would have been really neat if Adam and Eve consulted with one another and said, what about that other big tree here in the garden? It's called the tree of life. If they had eaten that fruit, we wouldn't be so afraid of dying because we know that you're not dying. When you live a life as she lived, you go on, as is true of the folks you know who are good and kind and caring. You don't die. You move on from one realm to the next, assuming you didn't mess this one up too badly, as some do. Then it's quite likely that you die. We're not in the hell system either. It's probably a matter of life and death, or life and life eternal. Well, she's assured the heights of heights in life eternal because of the blessings she brought into this realm by being a magnificent partner of God in allowing us to understand that you don't need to look for God in the formal places of holiness. Look for God in the garden. Look for God in the restaurant. Look for God when you're in the hospitals. Look for God at your meetings. Look for God wherever you have someone else with whom to interact and to listen to and to learn with. And that's what she did. And she empowered family, and she empowered friends, and she ultimately became a light to others who were privileged enough to know her. I know we see her at our synagogue on a yearly basis to be there to celebrate the memory of her precious grandchild that she had lost. And she left her mark among us in that way as well. Again, as Steve said, so many things to say about her, and that's what you get to do now, is to realize you're not really losing her. Yes, we have to say goodbye to her physically, but she lives on through you, through the memories you've got, And your opportunity to ask yourself as you leave this day, what are some aspects and capacities of Valerie that maybe I could incorporate in my life? Maybe I can pick up some of the energy that she had and what she did to add blessings where I can. And yes, as she faced her own impending death, it was a teaching that she knew. When you leave this world and you've done the best you could, you don't really die. You just keep on going. And she will be in this realm as well as Olam Haba, the world that comes next, for all those in any and every tradition that do more good than not in this realm. We thank God for her. We say Adonai Natan, Adonai Lakach. God has given a very special partner to life. And now as God has taken her from us, and we ponder the ways in which she'll continue to be a force without necessarily the physical capacities that we wish we could still have, as she continues to be a force for good in your lives and the lives of everybody she has touched. We thank God for her, and we say, Yehi Shem Adonai Mevorach. Blessed be the name of our God. If you're able, I'll invite you to rise for a prayer and loving memory of our beloved drowned wife. El Malay Rachabi, Shochein Bamromi, Amsei Menucha Nachona, Tachat Kanfei Hashtina, B'malot Kedoshim Notorim, Kezara Rakia Masirim, Et Nishmat, Ruth Bat Abraham Basara, Shacha Leolamaha, Pegane Dede Menuchata, Anna Baharachamim, Pastireha Basetukanafecha Leolamim, Utzor Bitzor Chaim Et Nishmata, Adonai Hu Nachalata, V'tanuach B'shalom Al Mishkabah, V'nomar, Amen. O God, exalted, full of compassion, grant perfect peace in your sheltering presence among the holy and pure to the soul of Valerie Bladice, who has gone to her eternal home. Master of mercy, we beseech you, remember all the worthy deeds that she performed in this realm. We ask that our loved one find perfect peace in your sheltering embrace. May her soul be bound up in the bond of life. May she rest in peace. And let us say,